Okay, it's 1:45 Eastern time for me. I guess it's time to get started. There's only 30 minutes, so I don't want to waste too much. Hopefully, folks will join in as we go along. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And also, special thanks to CY2 again and Ernst as well for giving me the opportunity to present. This is a great event. So far, it's been pretty interesting sessions all through the morning, and a few more to go as well. And today's presentation is called Kibana Visualization for Campus Solutions. I'm planning to take you through some of the new technologies that have come through with PeopleTools and what we can do to enhance the user experience of our applications. In this case, specifically Campus Solutions, but you can apply that to anything. And what we can do with search and data visualizations, how we can use that to really maximize the user experience. And for those who don't know me, my name is Sasank Vemana. You must have heard of me, some of you through the higher ed user group or other Oracle forums like Quest and Oracle technology forums, and also potentially through my blog at some point. But I've also recently started a company called Rank One Solutions. And what I've been focusing on is to try to help customers maximize their investments in PeopleSoft through consulting or even doing some product development, as well as some training in some niche areas, including Kibana, where there's not as much detailed information that's available in terms of documentation or other training material as we explore it's unexplored areas, I guess, in my opinion. So with that introduction, I hope everyone's still able to hear me and see my screen. Moving ahead, so why is search important, right? That's the question. I guess I don't really need to answer or try to sell to you that search is important for applications. By now, we're in 2021, and Google has come a long way as well. And anything you need, for instance, even if you need to contact me, you're not going to remember my email, or you're not going to remember my blog address or whatever. You're going to just search for me in Google and find results, right? It helps you find things that you need. And it's not that you're just trying to search for something just out of boredom, right? You want to go to some place. You want to navigate to something. You want to transact. You want to do something. For instance, if you want to find me, you want to find me for some reason, right? Or for example, let's say you want to go into Amazon and you want to buy something. You search on the Amazon to do some transaction. So you're really surfacing the data that's available within the application using search, right? So that's pretty easy. So what is the first thing that comes to mind if I say cloud? You can just put that in your chat. Let's see what comes out. I have my views. I'll share that with you in some time. Rain, okay. I was expecting some funny ones. I wasn't expecting rain, but yeah, it could be rainy if you are using none today. Okay. Yeah, there's none today. There's so much heat out here in Florida. Absolutely. No cloud for me today. But from my side, when I've been different integration requirements, absolutely, yep. And if you think about cloud, I've been sitting in many presentations, let's say SaaS-based products. I'm just going to pick on Workday for no specific reason, and I'm not comparing Workday to PeopleSoft in any way. They're apples to oranges, but it's a SaaS-based product and it's a cloud product, right? When you look at them, some of the presentations that I've been to, oops, not this one here, let me go back. And I see some of the demos, for instance, this is Oracle, this is Workday student admissions module. So this is the view that they present to the end users, right? There is clearly data visualizations everywhere. You can see the program analysis done here and presenting that information to our stakeholders, our end users, really in a rich and intuitive way. So here you can see the number of applications, different status, and things like that, right? And there's one more here that I have, Workday records. Again, you can see somewhere they'll try to bring in a dashboard or some sort of visualization here in terms of open faculty positions and things like that. And there's one more here about student financial systems. As you can see, this is the dashboard that gets presented to them, the financial aid information. refunds, whatever, right? Taking the data and surfacing it in visual format to end users so that they can analyze better, quicker. There's so much to visualizations compared to actually looking at raw data, right? So that's basically what I at least for me, when I sit in these cloud demos or any modern applications, enterprise applications, if you look at them, that's what they bring to the table in terms of user experience. So, okay, before I get into the next slide, so yeah, we can do, my presentation today is to show how we can do similar search and data visualization capabilities within PeopleSoft as well with the existing PeopleTools frameworks that's available. So before I get into the existing frameworks, I want to talk about what is ELK, right? ELK is open source technology stack. It's a combination of Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. That's why it's called ELK. And it consists of 3 layers. Logstash is the first one, there's Elasticsearch, and then Kibana. So Logstash is like the a log aggregator, really. It can collect logs from various different sources and transform that information into something meaningful, and it can be ingested into other applications, right? That's its main core functionality. And then the next thing here is Elasticsearch, which is basically a search engine. It's able to do search on data that's indexed, right? Data can come in from Logstash, as you can see in this diagram, but it could come from anywhere. Elastic really doesn't care about where the data resides. So you can just feed any data into Elastic. As long as it's indexed in Elastic, it can provide that rich search and analytical capability on top. And then on top of that is Kibana, which Kibana is a data visualization tool. It can provide really rich and intuitive ways to look at your data, interface with your data as well, just like how we saw in that Workday example. Now, any search that we do, right, you generally get back some text-based results, and then you will get a link in there as well. If you go into Google and search something, you'll see a bunch of text, and then you look at that text and then go into a transaction, right? It's mostly text-based, the search results, I mean. So now what Kibana does is it takes that information that's text-based, right, or whatever data is that's indexed, it's able to then layer on top of that all these visualizations. So that's where Kibana comes in from a data visualization point of view. What does this mean in PeopleSoft? So Elasticsearch is now, as of 8.5.5, it is another option that they provided for the backend search. So the search engine, right? So PeopleTools has its own search framework. So it has everything kind of like metadata management within PeopleTools, and that search framework can hook into any search engine. Earlier, there was Oracle SES, and then now with 8.5.5, they delivered Elasticsearch, and now that's the only option that we have, I believe, starting from 8.5.7. So we all know what Elasticsearch is. Now, quick example about a search scenario. If you think about, here it says job search, but if you're a campus solutions person, let's assume it's a class search, right? So you go to a browser and you would search, and multiple students from multiple different locations at the same time can be doing searches on the class search page, right? So that's why performance could become a real issue, because if all those different queries are actually going through your web app and database tiers, and it could really cause a bottleneck at the database level because of all the complex queries that could occur because of the searching, right? And that's where Elasticsearch as a search engine, what it can do is it can take that data and index it and provide that for search. So you can take the data from the database using PSNT, PS Unix, the batch schedulers, you can schedule search indexing and push that into Elasticsearch using the search framework in PeopleTools. And then now when your users are searching for something, you're getting that performance from Elasticsearch. It's what you can see in the red lines here. It's going through the web app and directly going into Elasticsearch. So you're not really doing any database level querying and causing any performance impacts there. So that's really behind the scenes look at why Elasticsearch is important for search in PeopleTools. Kibana and PeopleSoft, right? 8.5.8 introduced Kibana, but technically speaking, 8.5.7 actually introduced Kibana, but it was more like a standalone installation, primarily for administrative users, technical people to kind of do some visualizations on top of Elasticsearch, but couldn't do anything within the application because there was no UI integration in 8.5.7. So what happened in 8.5.8, of course, there was also Logstash that was introduced. I'm not going to get into Logstash today. It has its own use cases, but we will focus on Kibana. So in Kibana, what happens is with 8.5.8, they've actually provided a user Kibana visualization within the PeopleSoft UI. So there's a UI integration. What that means is you don't have to let your users go in and log into a separate application. They're already there within PeopleSoft. Now you can view all the visualizations within the application, right? That's what embedded analytics, embedded visualizations is what we want. Also, the other key factor there is you get the security aspect of things. Your users are logged in, the built-in security flows through Elasticsearch, so you can only see the data that you have access to as well. So what's the big deal about Kibana specifically? Again, in my view, performance is also one more big thing, of course, on top of the data visualization capability, which is obvious. Now, if you look at any of the dynamic tiles that we might be presenting currently, there's many ways you can do this, right? Several different tools for visualizations in PeopleTools. What you're seeing here on the left-hand side, let's say it's a dynamic tile or dashboard. When it's displaying a data visualization, it's really going through our transaction system, the web app, and database tiers, right? So I've seen that there's performance issues that have occurred as a result of pivot grids and all that running on page load on a home page, where if you're really complex queries, potentially could cause some performance issues there. Not that it'll always cause it, but it has use cases where you can really tune those and make them work as well. Now, if you look at Kibana, everything is occurring based off Elasticsearch indexes, right? Now, you can see the red line here, even though the UI, you're in PeopleSoft, all the rendering is happening from Kibana. So that's the beauty about that. It's really offloading that whole performance out of PeopleSoft and also providing the visualization capability, right? So what are applications doing with this? If you haven't seen, I think starting 858 has been around for a while. HCM financials are delivering a ton of these in their PUM images for folks to start using. So you can take a look real quick here and close out of this Elasticsearch. Okay, I guess, right? So let me go into HCM. This is a PUM 34 instance that I have. So if I log in here, I should have logged in earlier. So there is, under recruiting, you will find, again, this is my demo system, so this is not working very perfectly, I guess, but I need to refresh it a couple of times before I get Kibana to work for some reason in this instance. But anyway, that's the Kibana app data visualization that you can see, where it can show you information directly from Elasticsearch, the data indexed out there, right? Let me get out of this. And so the same visualization is also available in the recruiting insights tile. And you can see here that all these are loading. They're all dynamic tiles within the application. And this is Kibana visualization. From end user point of view, they don't care. They don't need to know. It's just for us technical folks to, or even other IT folks to figure out what tool to use for the data visualization, right? In this case, it's Kibana, right? This one is application details. So I go in here, and as you can see, it is starting to load demos and live demos and not working. Okay, there you go. So this is the data visualizations and the dashboard, the detailed view where you can see all your application information. So because I'm in recruiting, it's showing all the application details by country, different states within the US and different cities as well. What are the counts, how are the applications coming in? And also you can see internal, external, and some application competencies and skills. I don't have any data and demo, so I cannot see this particular visualization. But so that's the visualization aspect, right? But you can also slice and dice your information. For example, I can drill in here and say, okay, I want to only look at transactions from Florida. I want to see all the applicants and then drill in that way. That's one thing you can do. And let me get rid of that. Now the filter is gone. And I can also do a free form search. I can say, okay, I need to look at this person called Hank. I need to look at his application, and it will show me all the applications that has that name, Hank, right? A couple of them, I can look at this and say, okay, that's the one I want coming from Illinois. And then I go into the details from here. That will take me into the transaction. So not only is there a visualization aspect, the drill down, slicing and dicing, analytics aspect, as well as now you can navigate to transactions using this. So it's pretty powerful. This is what we're seeing in these other modern applications. You can do this within using the PeopleSoft delivered framework as well, right? So that's what's happening in the application space. HCM, if you look at the latest PUM images, HCM financials as well, they're delivering quite a bunch of dashboards. Now, what can we do with the framework? I actually presented on this topic last year at EIS. There's a link out there in the references later. I'll share that with you guys. But I did a demo, a DIY style. How do you do end-to-end data visualization using some data? Just picked some integration broker data and I did end-to-end. But this is the high-level methodology. So you would, for like with anything, you would need to prepare your data, right? You need to figure out what your data source is, identify that. And then how you feed that into a search framework is you build a PS query, just like how you would do that for, let's say, XML Publisher or other tools as well, right? So you build the data PS query, or in other cases, in some complex cases, you'll have to build some connected queries. That's what you would find in most of the delivered search indexing. Once you create the data source as a PS query, you may also have to build some views. You may also have to do some security, like row-level security as well. And then go into the search framework and configure some metadata. So all these is configuration. Of course, there's that building of that data sourcing piece. Maybe you might have to build some views and potentially some additional fields and things like that. But highly everything is configurable. And so yeah, search framework, once you build out the metadata within search framework, then you can deploy that into Elasticsearch. A couple of steps. One is you deploy the metadata, and then also you would build the indexing information, everything in Elasticsearch through batch mode. And then you have the search indexing in Elasticsearch. Then you go into Kibana and you have to do some configurations. You'll have to hook into that index information in Elasticsearch and then start building your visualizations and dashboards. Again, I don't have time to go through all that now, but I will show you the URL link to the video of me doing it last year. And finally, you go into PeopleSoft, and there's some Kibana administration where you will go and import these dashboards that you built in Kibana. You bring it into PeopleSoft, and then configure them and secure them and start using it, right? So that's the high-level methodology. Now, so what about Campus? I haven't seen any so far yet in any of the POM images. Generally speaking, they are a little bit slow, in my opinion, just in terms of catching up with technology, whatever PeopleTools delivers. But I was pleasantly surprised to hear today at one of the sessions, I think Steve mentioned that there are something coming up, either maybe planning or coming by end of the year or something like that, right? But as of now, I haven't found any. So let me show you what I started building on my own in CS here, and just to see that what you can do with the framework. You don't have to necessarily wait for Oracle to deliver some of these, right? And using the same approach that I took with the previous session I presented at EIS last year, I built a Kibana dashboard or a homepage here, which is called Admissions Insight, and I have applications by status and application details. Oh, by the way, how I got this idea is, let me go back here real quick and show you something. I should have done this earlier. I missed one step with my presentation. Then another one I wanted to show you with the HCM application, which I forgot earlier. We go into Workforce Administration, Workforce Insight. You can see that there's also a Workforce Equity tile here, and where you can see your applicants or your entire workforce, sorry, by the diversity of your applicants. How I keep saying applicants, and I have to say employees. So this is an employee diversity. You can go in and drill down and say, okay, where are all my accountant roles, right? My accountant job codes, where are they all coming from country's point of view? What is the compensation ratio? What is the age, gender range? And you can start doing some powerful analytics in place as well, right? This is not a replacement for anything like BI technology. Business reporting technology, but it's more in-place analytics within the application to modernize your application and provide better user experience for your users to interact with the data. You would much rather interact with your data with something like this than have to deal with raw data, right? So anyway, so that's how I got some of the ideas for admissions. So now here we are in Campus Solutions for admissions module, right? And let's look at the application details. That's the main tile that I built, and here you can see the actual visualization of all the applicants. So you can see by career, all the applications that have come in. Obviously, this is demo information, so I don't have a whole bunch of data. to show you, but you can see the different programs. Just I've added a tag cloud to be able to drill into the particular programs here. And this is all the applications coming into campus solutions through different campus locations, right? And here is all the last school attended from the applicants. And then this is all the applications, different careers, the count by academic year. So how are they faring in terms of the applications coming into the system, and also the last what is this one here? Highest level of education. So now you can start really drilling into information. Let's say, okay, I want to look at liberal arts. What's going on here? Now you can start looking at where are these applicants coming from? Where did they study earlier? Which country is the campus where they're applying, and you can start seeing all this rich information. And also, while you're here, you could also say, okay, if that's not what you were here for, you wanted to search for someone who called you, or for some reason you want to search for a particular applicant, you can just search for that person here and then drill into that transaction to open the admissions page, right? The actual exact transaction for that person that I searched for, right? That's the application person name. So, and also, by the way, I spoke about search, right? So the same thing I could also do through global search. So if I go back here, and because I've built everything based on Elasticsearch indexing, I've also enabled it in global search. So now I can search for the same student here and not have to navigate, right? Information is readily available for me. I can search. I can do multiple facets here. I can drill down that way as well. So I can start doing, let's say, masters or something like that. So I'm going to get a whole lot of data here, but now I can say, okay, I'm only looking at MBA programs, and then only looking at not much data to filter. But you could see how you can just filter with the search as well. So that's the first layer, right? You have the search information, then you have the data visualizations. So I'm going to go back here to my home page and show you some other things that I've built. The applicant diversity. So just like how we saw in the workforce diversity here in the other HR application, I thought, okay, we need to build something for applicant diversity, because that's important, right? You can start looking into all sorts of information, the underrepresented areas especially, or even looking at why certain type of applications are getting rejected, and do all that right here in PeopleSoft, right? And also, by the way, the ELK stack is free, and also what PeopleSoft delivers is free as well, right? It's free technically because it's part of the license that you pay for. Now, I have the same applications by career, application programs, just for the drill down capability, but the real ethnicity or diversity information is out here, right? So I'm creating a pie chart with all the ethnic groups of the applicants and different genders that are available within the application information. And now I have a applicants' birth country, different countries where they're coming from, and also they could live in a different place, right? For instance, I'm living in the US. I wasn't born here. So where their home address is, and also the applicant's country, city, by it's like a vertical bar chart, and you can see this is the country in the US, but different cities they're coming from as well. So let's say you want to just drill down into all the applications from Melbourne, right? So you go into Australia and look up, or where's Melbourne here? There's 7 applications in Melbourne. So yep, I want to save this, and now you can see all the other tiles would automatically update itself as well. So that's another key feature about Kibana. So you can start seeing where these applications are, what's going on there, the age range, and and the gender as well. So let me get rid of this filter to have some time. So yeah, that's really the power of Kibana. So you can start imagining what you can do. And also a lot of these is easy enough to configure once you start building the dashboards, right? So it's almost like a home page. This dashboard is like a home page, and all these visualizations are like tiles, right? So you can pretty easily remove some visualizations that you don't like, and you can start configuring your own. The biggest thing is to build the search information flexible enough with all the data that you need, so that you can then come in and start building these out. Of course, it takes, it is not that easy, of course, right? I don't want to oversimplify it as well. There is a bit, like I showed you in the methodology, it is a process you need to go through and build them as well. So that's the key there. But what I'm trying to say is the Kibana piece of it is easily configurable. And so once you have the data in Elastic, you can start building out additional dashboards. For instance, let's say you don't want all these programs, but you want to only have programs from a particular academic career, then you can do that as well. So that's how we would start building these. And I have one more tile that I want to show you. Again, I just built this for fun, really. The application, different application status, different counts of all the application status, program status, and then application actions. And this is just for drill down. Again, I have the programs and the status. So I can say, okay, show me the liberal arts program. Where are the applications at? What's going on here? So maybe if you have a high rate of deny, then maybe you might want to just focus on the deny status. So you can probably reconfigure this visualization for that, and really start doing some powerful stuff with this. So that's what I've got built so far, and I do plan to extend this as well in the future. And so, yeah, that's what you could do with campus. And of course, or you could wait for the roadmap and see what's coming. But that's going to be a while before I can actually see some major things coming out of campus solutions from a delivery point of view, right? So what I am planning to do with this is, of course, continue to enhance the admissions, and then also look into some things in the enrollments. For example, the student enroll information is also pretty powerful, and you can start surfacing that as well, and then build some out for grades and start doing some analysis on those. So I am looking for an early adopter if you're interested, and if you are on PeopleTools 858 or higher, let me know, and we'll find ways to collaborate. But yeah, that's all I had. I guess I'm running out of time. What else do I have here? Okay, I'm gonna do, this is one slide with all the DIY information. If you want to go through the steps, it's on my blog, how to build Kibana visualizations from scratch, because that's what it is really, right? Take some data source and build end-to-end visualization. So that's what these two resource pages would show you. And at the end here, I have the video of what demo I did last year at EIS as well. So that's the end of my presentation. And